Good now, everybody, and welcome to the Rise Up.
That was my
Show,
Halloween costume. You know that. I was the Quickster.
featuring the Quickster. And that was also like a viral video for Violet, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah. She had a lot of views from that one.
It was well worth it. Okay, what did you send me this morning that everybody absolutely needs to see?
Wow, we heard you've been in crypto since 2020. What did you buy? Ethereum.
I love it.
For all 31 people watching right now, you get to see a real gem.
It's not even as funny as I think it is, but it's
No,
really funny.
it's good.
Oh my gosh. Where'd you get that meme from even?
The tweeter.
The tweeter. You know who has some of the best memes in the game that I really would love to have on our show soon is
Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Are you talking about? There are like 2 or 3 actual Twitter accounts that are Jesus performing, and a lot of them have great memes.
I have no doubt. Also, I'm not religious, but anyway.
Let me show you very quick. This is Boys Club, and I'll say if you're looking for a information source that is crypto and not just crypto, but also like internet culture, new technology with an emphasis on like inclusion and friendship, Boys Club is a great place. It is a place for you. You could be one of the boys. It's a bunch of female founders. That's why they call it Boys Club. And they have some of the very, very best memes. Every time Michael Saylor posts a video from his house, I think of those 90s Tuscan kitchen decor videos. Terracotta and grape vibes, baby. God. Let's go. They have fantastic memes. Some of the best on Twitter. So check them out. And they also have good crypto content. They did the official Crypto the Game companion show podcast, and they're all lovely.
I don't like that they have a New York Yankees logo on there. Even though I know it's a joke, I don't like it.
Damn.
I won't follow now for a silly reason.
Ha-ha!
Ugh, I got bags under my eyes. I need to sleep better. I need to sleep more. Ugh.
Me too. I just got a blood test recently, and I have high iron, and my testosterone is towards the lower end of normal, and it would explain why I'm feeling a bit sluggish.
Yeah. I had those problems too. Not to make this a men's health thing, but yeah, I had a huge wave of depression hit me for a little bit, and I was like, damn, I was aware of like low testosterone issues. My body just like stopped producing as much testosterone, like the testosterone of someone who's like 60 years old. And I was like 28 at the time. No, I was 29. And then I went to the doctor, got some stuff to make my body make its own testosterone. Bada boom, bada bing.
Speaking of testosterone, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Alex Popovich, welcome to the show.
Welcome to Men's Health Podcast.
Hold on. I know what it is. Try it again. Welcome to the show.
Take 2.
Hi, dinosaur. Yeah, brontosaurus. Hell yeah.
You know what happens as I sit there for 10 minutes waiting for Evan to accept my request to join the show?
It didn't show.
TikTok sends me a pop-up notification that says, hey, this guy clearly doesn't want to talk to you. How about these people? And he just starts like spamming you all these other random ass people that you do not follow that are live. And it's like, try joining them instead.
Friends don't like you? Here are some others.
Here are some
new
left
friends.
out in the cold again.
Does this have anything to do with what I want to talk or learn about? No, but they have a pulse.
And that's just bullshit.
So if
they're
you
6 feet tall. No.
If you're like Alex and you're feeling ignored by our men's health conversation and memes, then this is Web3 101 Wednesday, people. We are here to help you navigate the sometimes perilous landscape of crypto, of blockchain, occasionally AI, occasionally how you consider going about buying and selling this stuff, how you consider avoiding scams, all those things, how to DeFi. And so if you've got a crypto question, this is absolutely the place for it. I'm paying attention to the comments here on TikTok, on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Hello to our friends on LinkedIn. We would love to hear from you. especially if you're somebody who's just getting into this. And if you're a friend who regularly watches the show, I see Solom, I see Jay Heat, I see Eamon in the comments, lots of folks, lots of friends, then let us count on you to be extra helpful. You always are so helpful, but extra helpful on Wednesdays as we seek to onboard the masses and your mom. Gentlemen, I had sent a message that I wanted to talk, and your mom. I don't know that I saw what you bumped back to me, Alex. I saw explanations, Web3 101 Wednesday. I am excited to preview your guide a little later, and Will had mentioned a couple of things too, that it's the last day of the DC Crypto Summit that we're going to get. I wrote MAN.data, and I have no idea
man data. So we started talking off about men's health. So is that what we're going for?
That's not it. What date is coming out today that we're going to talk about later?
Oh,
Maybe.
damn it. There is data coming out.
There
Oh,
is
no, it's
something.
manufacturing data.
Manufacturing
It's durable.
data.
It's what? Oh God, what's it called? Order durable goods, durable order goods, durable goods orders. Durable goods orders. That's it.
Once he figures it out, we'll have an update on that as the numbers come in, and then I do want to preview Will's Aptos trade.
Well,
But Alex,
it either comes out at 8:30 this morning, or 9:30 this morning, or 10:30 this morning. So
I will find out, and
time
when
is
it's
different.
time, I will softly intro you so you don't feel rugged.
Perfect. So you get to softly intro it to me, and then I go, shit, I got to look it up.
Yeah. So just be on your toes. I will private.
What
By
else?
that I meant I'll private chat you. So
Yes, that private chat I always pay attention to.
don't fret about it. Alex, you had said you were interested in maybe doing a little explaining about yesterday's interview. We had a fantastic conversation with Spade from Neutron, and it was both helpful for beginners, but there were times where I feel like we had to clarify ourselves. So I would love to invite people, one, to ask their questions if you have them from yesterday. And two, if you didn't see the interview yesterday, check it out on YouTube. It's going to be in the live tab at the Rise Up Morning Show's YouTube page. But is there anything you wanted to just review or clarify for people as our guy on the drive?
I was just thinking, I mean, first of all, it was great. And I love doing interviews like that because it's nice to get a little bit technical and do some level, 2+ stuff, just because I know there's a lot of people who have been watching the show who are constantly studying and learning and definitely benefit from getting to hear some more advanced stuff. But of course, it was like 90% jargon. So I just wanted to be cognizant of that. And I figured that because we're rolling into Web3 101, today's literally the perfect day to just like go back and do probably some like DeFi terms explanations, especially to like help level it up. Like, okay, so you've gotten the basics down, like you're aware that, stable coins can earn yield too, and those can be good, especially in times like now when no one knows what's going on. You don't really want to dabble too much in trading, but you still want to do something that can add some percentage points instead of just like bleeding them off every week. As we, wait to see if every other TikTok live who's spamming the title alt season is back is wrong or correct. That seems useful. And then I figured we could touch on the DeFi mastery syllabus and just get maybe some thoughts on that a little bit later. And then I feel like I had one more thing, and now I'm just watching the thought run away from me and taunt me as it disappears.
Well, then don't fret.
Was it about BitBoy being arrested at a KFC while also being given no bail for harassing the judge?
First of all, Will, it was a Popeyes.
It was
What?
well,
Popeyes
Jesus
is way
Christ.
better than KFC. At least he has better taste in his chicken.
I can't believe
Arrested
it.
at a Popeyes.
I can't believe you brought it up. I was just going to ignore it.
No.
It's just sad.
No.
I just feel bad. He's clearly dealing with something, and he is clearly also not getting the help. So it's tough to watch. As someone who knew him years ago, it's tough to watch.
Straight to jail.
It is tough to watch. Listen, if your thoughts are scattered, you're driving, let me drive the show. It'll look like we know what we're doing.
But
Okay, so you'd like to preview the DeFi curriculum. Can I push back to suggest that instead we preview your other product? Because Spoiler alert, I've got it in the store.
Hell yeah.
And the other thing is, I think the DeFi curriculum is fantastic, but I feel like it's got a lot of parts, and I don't know that it'll give people as much practical tactical. And I think this will.
It does have a lot of parts.
It does have a lot of parts,
Yeah,
and I think they require a little fleshing out. And if you want to see it, don't worry, I've got something for you. So, Will, would you assist me a little bit with the screen share coming up here? I want to show you this and let Alex talk about it. So, yesterday, we also talked on the show about our friend Magic's situation that is very similar to what a lot of people have here. Hang on, I'm going to throw this up.
I just want you to know that I'm now rugging you.
You are rugging.
I took the power
Who's
back.
rugging who here?
I took the power back.
If you are somebody who is feeling like you are a little stuck with a particular part of your portfolio, like maybe you bought the hype, you took an influencer suggestion, or you bought something at what in retrospect seems to have been the top. We talked about this on our episode yesterday too. And everybody went around and gave a really good measured response to Magic's specific situation, which was about Arrow and looking for whether or not he should take a loss and roll the money into something higher conviction. He should park it in stable coins and wait. And in response to that, not only did we talk about it on the show, but Alex, you took time to just create this fantastic, this is like a mini ebook right here. It's not too long, you know, it's like 6 pages of very practical stuff. And I just wanted to give you an opportunity to summarize that for folks, because I think a lot of people really resonated with that yesterday. What would you say to those people who are feeling like, do I sell? Does it recover? How do I know what's worth keeping? What's this guide talk about? Thank you, Will.
So I really wanted it to hit 2 things specifically. One is the idea, like you said, Evan, that sometimes people can buy at like an inopportune time or buy too heavily in one moment when you're influenced by too much FOMO, too much hype. I say all the time that oftentimes content ends up being somebody holding up an example of luck and touting it as wisdom, which inspires people to follow suit. And I think then a lot of people who maybe do that for the first time and are then looking at something in a correction and are trying to figure out like, well, you know, okay, I'm experiencing now volatility for the first time. This isn't going great. I don't know if I should hold it out. Like, is this thing one of those things that's actually got the chance to come back? Was this just a terrible move all around? Like, how can I reassess? And I would say, one, I would hope that we can kind of start to communicate more to people that you don't have to feel stuck in that situation. Like, I have a video pretty recently on my feed. I think it's titled Swing Trading Example. And I also have a mention of that in this paper, which is really just this idea that just because something is down doesn't mean that you can't still work on taking profits on it. You know, if it's kind of ranging now up and down, but below the price that you paid for it. And I won't bore everyone with all of the math there. It's in the video. It's worth, I think it's in the Crypto Basics playlist that I have. And it kind of does like a single numbers heavy example about taking profit on Ethereum if it's underneath what you originally paid for it. So check that out. And then the rest of this was really just, okay, now is the time to do what we like to call gut checking. You might look at the things that you bought and think like, nope, I have faith in this. I like this project. It's good. I know that it's down right now. And that perhaps I went in a little bit too heavy and my average is up. And, you know, these are all fine things to realize. I don't want this to come across as something where it's like making you look at all of your positions and realizing that all of them were terrible. But you do need to constantly kind of remind yourself of why you bought what you bought and if you're comfortable with how you're holding it. So there's a couple questions in there that you should ask yourself. There's just a couple of different ways to think about the stuff that you are holding. And then, you know, kind of a little bit of a thought process to help look through potentially restructuring or shuffling some stuff around. And I would say that if you have like specific questions or you have a specific example, feel free to toss it in and we could kind of like work through an example or two with, you know, someone's specific asset and a specific price to kind of drive it home. But I feel pretty good about it. I think it was a really good conversation prompted by Magic, and I was excited for the prompt because it feels like feels like something that hopefully people can use, especially nowish.
Yeah, and I feel like that document that you made as well is a good culmination, not just of the conversation with Magic, but of bits of advice that people in the Discord have been giving folks as well, and conversations and inspiration from those conversations combined with the advice and coaching we've provided people for, well, a number of months now, but and then just kind of culminating it at this point. So I think the document was just like a very good rubric for people to kind of continuously read through, remind themselves, re-strategize. And, if you are doing the correct thing, when markets are red, you're still paying attention. You don't look at your portfolio price every single day, but look at your portfolio mix and makeup, figure out what projects are still doing things in a healthy way, and reevaluate which parts of your portfolio you have a lot of faith in and not a lot of faith in. And this document is a great way to kind of help guide you through that thought process and then rebalance in a more confident way and hopefully a more profitable way. So I thought you did a great job with it in like a very concise way too.
Get the screen share prepped because I want to show people where they can get it. Tori says she needs to get better at journaling. Sometimes I look at a coin I own and I think, why? And Dan says, where is Will's document? Well, Will's got some documents. Alex's document that we're talking about right now, I will show you. It is available right now in the courses and coaching tab at theriseupmorningshow.com. When you go to theriseupmorningshow.com, or not courses and coaching, it's digital courses and digital downloads. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I'm so sorry, guys. You click that, you can scroll down. You can see we've got like the Web3 101 courses, the How to DeFi course. And then right here, it's got this terrible profile picture for now because I literally just put it up from Regret to Reset, Rebalancing a Portfolio. You can find it there. We also have like the How to Do Your Own Crypto Research Guide. This one's totally free. If you haven't got it, what the heck are you doing? We have several that are like totally free. And of course, if you're a premium or premium plus member in the Discord, you get this for free anyway. So head on over there to the free PDF guides for premium members chat and make sure you pick this one up. Alex also has recently published a DeFi curriculum for people who maybe you've taken the How to DeFi class or you haven't, but you just kind of want to get started earning passive income on your crypto. And you're like, what's my checklist? What are the skills? This has got like 30 steps, Alex. And I will say it's got a really, just like this one, it's a really good synopsis, like Will said, of like, you maybe feel overwhelmed by Discord or you're not in the Discord, you're not a premium member or whatever, but you like want to, what's the tea, what's going on? Then this is an easy way to get caught up. Alex does a great job with these PDF guides. And then I will tell you, I'm not sure where it is. There's the Boring Market Research Guide, also a very timely guide. I should know this. If you go to if you go to the memberships tab, then you can sign up for a premium trial totally free. It's 7 days totally free. You can check out the PDF guides. You can check out all the other stuff, get a class, get a coaching at a discount. If that's your thing, we would be glad to see you there. But you don't have to spend a dime to start learning with us if you want to jump in the Discord. I just wanted to tell you about that because it was a really good conversation yesterday. I felt like that needed to live forever, and I'm glad you gave it a form. I'm sorry, Alex, I rugged you. You were going to say about the DeFi curriculum. I'd love to give a comment.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a whole lot bigger one that will translate, I'm sure, into several live classes and stuff. So we'll keep you posted. It's going to take me a minute to finish putting everything together, but I have like the modules for preview. They're also in the premium chat if you want to take a look at it or let me know. I'll probably make a video about it just because I'm looking for feedback and stuff. But that one is also like, I was inspired to do that because I would really like to present it to like schools, like undergraduate universities or high schools and stuff, just because there's just an absolute dearth of any kind of relevant financial education happening. And the whole point of this one is not to really talk about like buying specific cryptos. Like there will be a few that get used as examples, but really the whole point is just like breaking down all of the jargon and then helping you level up. So it'll be like separate into three things. So if you're already like past the beginner stages, an intermediate and an advanced, and if you're already in advanced, then you can just do that one, or you can do all of them or whatever. So I'm going to be doing some testing with that because I've never done anything quite like it, but I'm excited.
Well, if you want, also, I'm in the Boston DAO, which has connections to the MIT and Harvard crypto clubs. So if you want to, we can talk a little bit more offline about that. and just see if like we can get the Boston Dow included and get MIT and Harvard included, or at least folks from there, and try to get their insight.
I just want to tell everybody in the audience that if you're not in a DAO, what the hell are you doing? And if you don't know what a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, but it really resembles mostly a group chat or like a cabal. You know, like the government, those texts they have back and forth about where they're going to spend money. That's like a DAO. And we are
It's a
all in
club.
silly DAOs. I'm in Tall
Yes.
DAO.
I'm not in a single silly DAO.
Boston DAO is not. I mean, it's not. It sounds a little
It's
more
not
serious than Tall
silly.
DAO, but you know, it's not.
more serious than it sounds. A little more serious than Tall DAO. Also, I should
don't
be
know.
in Tall DAO. I should be.
Are you
in
6'3"? You're 6'3", right? Yeah.
Tall. I'm 6'2".
Oh.
I'm too
I'm
short
so
to be in
sorry.
Tall DAO.
Yeah, our friend Lindsay Poss, a member of Tall DAO, says
Bullshit.
that
But what if I stand on top of Alex?
the,
Then I'd be like 6'5" at least.
oh my god.
This is a gross
I'm pretty short. That
misrepresentation
might
of
not
facts.
get you all the way there.
Alex is in the Alex DAO, and of course, like you know, there are more serious DAOs that people actually do stuff. I'm a member of the Verbs DAO. DAOs are a fun part of Web3 that are like a group of friends that share a bank account and can use tokens to help them align their interests and coordinate at scale, vote on things that matter, and often are just a fun way to kind of get together around a similar theme. Alex DAO, congratulations, by the way. It sounds like has just surpassed Josh DAO, right? To become the #1 name DAO in crypto that we know of?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, we've passed Josh Dow.
Hell yeah. Yeah, fuck you, Joshes.
We have over 400 Alexes in Alex Dow.
And don't you have a thread of GM?
Well, there's a gigantic Telegram chat, and usually every morning it's just a series and a chorus of "Good morning, Alexes."
Good morning, Alex.
Greetings, Alexes.
Alex, good morning. Alex, good morning.
I usually say, "Alex, how's it going? Good, strong name," and that always gets a couple people.
Nice.
And I will continue to make that same lame joke every fucking morning, forever,
Every morning.
because I'm hilarious.
Okay, I have two good questions.
that for
and,
you.
I want to remind folks, this is your show. It is Web3 101 Wednesday, even if, as Tori mentions, the vibes today are our dolphin anger piece, Evan, Alex, and Will there. If you've got a crypto question, we want to hear it. I did see a question about Jasmy, and I feel like
Oh
this
my
might be
God,
good-
wait a second.
Yes.
That use of emojis is so good.
Isn't it perfect?
Tori, that's perfect. Oh my
For the
God.
people who are on TikTok who don't see what everyone on Facebook, LinkedIn,
Wait,
Twitter see, it's a
they
little
need to.
dolphin, little angry face, and it's a little peace sign. And I think that could be us, guys.
That's us.
That could be
Will,
us.
Alex, Evan, right there. Dolphin, angry face, peace. I love that. So good.
Will, I actually was thinking maybe this would be a good time to answer Tori's question to segue into the Aptos trade that you took out recently, because that's another good practical example of like what to do at this point in the market. Tori asked, do you journal in a tracker app or something digital, or is it physical? She was thinking of using just her notes app. You guys have thoughts on that?
Well, what's the purpose of it?
Meaning not I think this is about like what tokens I hold when I bought or sold, you know, the portfolio. And I think it'd be good to cover in this answer to like if you're going to track your crypto and you want to get started because you don't, like what's the information you need to track?
So
bare
yeah,
minimum.
so I have an answer for this as to what I have used for years, but it's not the greatest. It's just
Okay.
that what I've used for years. It's the Delta app, DELTA. It's a little problematic at times where it's just like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But like for the most part, it works. You can connect your wallet to it or have it like, you know, monitor your public address and keep account of your trades that way. I've had some problems with that in the past though. So I just go through and manually put in buys and sells of stuff. But lately I've been lazy and, you know, I've just kind of been doing some trades on Coinbase. I haven't been kind of doing the best job of, in all transparency, of updating in my Delta app. But, you know, as I go and I become super bullish, like long term, and I'm holding positions for multiple months again, other than Bitcoin, which I've had for years and years and years and years and years, I'll then, you know, create a portfolio tracker there. But as right now, as I'm just kind of like in and out of things fairly quickly, I'm not doing a great job of updating it or journaling it. I'm just kind of doing the trades. But What I've also done is I've also just done Excel. I've made my own little booklet, and I'm an old school dinosaur. I like my Excel, so but those are my answers there. If you're gonna keep track of things though, just manually, you need to keep track of your entry price for the crypto as well as the US dollar valuation or whatever your native currency is that you do all your trading in, right? So your fiat currency. You need to keep track of the date as well. And you probably want to keep track of the wallet address associated to it also. So those are the things you want to keep track of. And then when you sell, keep track of the total amount of the asset that you sold, the sell price, as well as the buy price, sell price, and then the total dollar value, or again, value of whatever fiat currency it's in, and the date, and you should be good. So those are the things to keep track of.
Nice. Joe says, I love an old-fashioned scribbler with my margin notes. And Robert says, are you even a finance bro if you don't Excel, meaning Microsoft
Exactly.
Excel?
Yeah, I use Excel and then, physical notes.
Alex, what about you? Do you have anything to add to that?
I literally write shit on paper with a pen.
Woo! Yeah,
But
baby!
That's usually just so I don't forget things like in the moment as they're happening. Obviously, you get kind of the workaround with anything that happens on these big centralized exchanges. They're pretty good now. They send like tax documents and all that sort of stuff. So you really don't have to do too much on platform. I do dabble with spreadsheets, although I'm very bad at maintaining them. So I usually avoid it. And I do have a CoinGecko portfolio tracker that I keep updated as much as possible. I don't really make very many trades. Not terribly often, maybe one or two a month.
Don't you also use Coin Tracker for like taxes and stuff? Because I use Coin Tracker. I thought you did as well.
I use Coinly for tax related stuff, but I'm also very spoiled. And one of my good friends is a crypto literate tax accountant who does my taxes for me.
Yep.
And so I really don't have to do that much. I just send him a bunch of gobbledygook and he turns it into a tax filing every year for me.
I felt like there was more to that story. I'm so sorry I didn't jump right on it. Okay, so
I thought we were just letting it marinate in the fact.
Let it
that we're
marinate.
just
Gobbledygook.
Ironically.
no, I will say it really made me LOL because there's a slight echo on your end, Alex, that when you first came on, I was still kind of thinking about this, and Will said, "Woo, yeah, baby." It echoed, and that just tickled me.
It was nice. I liked it too.
So, okay, Will, you entered a trade recently, and you were talking about it, and I was looking at the chart, and I was like, "Oh, that seems like a good setup and a good opportunity to just talk through." You've had 2 trades recently. You're very active right now.
Well, hold on. I didn't execute the trade with Aptos. I just built a position.
You're built a position. That's right. Thank you for clarifying.
I haven't sold it.
But you did execute a Cardano trade.
Yeah, I executed a Cardano trade for a quick 1.5%, which.
And you're preparing to execute an Aptos trade.
And I'm preparing to execute an Aptos trade. I have built a position in it.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up a little screen share, and I'm glad to talk through it. Is CoinGecko okay?
Sure.
Okay. Tell me.
Are you pulling up the chart for it?
I was gonna pull up the chart. Is that helpful for you?
No, I'll pull up my
What do you
chart.
want? Okay. You pull it up, and I'll be ready to screen share. And I was gonna say, as you explained it to us, the question, of course, is: tell me why? Why now? Why these tokens? What's the strategy here?
Okay. I have my screen up. Is it on the StreamYard as well? I can't tell.
No, you got to click that little button.
Oh, that's right. I have the power now.
I have the power.
I have the power.
Here it comes, everybody.
Okay. Aptos is up.
Beautiful.
Now, for context, the reason why I'm playing with altcoins, again, is because of what we're seeing on Bitcoin. So I'm going to change the chart real quick to over the Bitcoin. So here we have Bitcoin. Let me get to a better time frame, daily time frame. Let me clean up a lot of this mess. Right? Let me just clean this up. Clean. Okay. Now, and a few other little bits of cleanliness. Perfect. Okay. So what we have here for Bitcoin on the daily time frame is we have this descending wedge here, this triangle that you can see. Now, descending wedges tend to break to the upside. They don't always. We saw that very recently on the Ethereum chart just a number of weeks ago, break to the downside. But for the most part, they tend to break to the upside. And so what we started to see here in Bitcoin is we started to see this aggressive bearish move here, but followed by this little bit of a rounding over. Okay. Similarly to when we had this, we saw a big bullish move, and then we saw a rounding over, right? That's something to keep your eyes on, just to gauge, how effective the bulls or bears are being at kind of beating one another, right? So that was the first sign of, hey, there might be something here, but still at that time, I maintained a bearish stance on Bitcoin until I allowed it to prove to me a confirmation. And so what we saw here is we saw a building up of Bitcoin, an initial test right here to try to get above it. It failed, came back above, but popped back up. And that is a classic bullish breakout. It becomes more clear if you actually zoomed in on the 4-hour time frame. But we then had a bullish breakout here. And so what I did is I was then like, all right, let's figure out what the breakout target of this is. And what you do is you measure the shape, in this case, the descending wedge, at its thickest point when both lines were in existence, which you can see here. This is where the first line of the bottom part was. Here's the first line of the top part. This is the thickest part. You measure that and you drag that over on top of your breakout zone, which is, let's see, I had it already. Anyway, whatever. I thought I already had here, but you bring it over here, and it gives you a target range of $101,000, $102,000. And so that's why I've given myself this general target range for this bullish breakout of Bitcoin. Okay, that's Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin's going up, altcoins should do better. So I started perusing the altcoins, trying to find setups that I like. In that, I found a Cardano trade that I took a quick 1.5% trade on while I slept, woke up, made $3,000. I said, sweet. And then I kept looking for another trade. So let's come over here to Aptos. And again, let me just clean up this chart a tiny bit. Okay.
Invited people over before you cleaned up your house.
No, but here we are. And so I know how embarrassing. And again, we have a very similar setup towards Bitcoin here again. So look, we have a very aggressive bear move and then a rounding over here as well, right? So that's a good sign. And we also have Aptos in a position right at the beginning of its bullish breakout here of this pattern, of this consolidation pattern. And again, we do the same thing to try to figure out how aggressive this could be. Now, I'm not entirely sure if I want to use this point or this point as the first point of existence, in which case I'm going to do both to be conservative. So that's the thickest point there. And I see another touch of this line here. So let's take the thickest point there. So, and I'm going to change the colors of this just to make it a little bit more clear. So we could have a conservative breakout to up to $8.28 potentially, or a breakout to even higher, potentially even $9. That's what it tells me. So I'm then going to say, cool, let's just get a conservative general range here. That this is my potential, hey, I should be getting the hell out of this trade moment, right? And since the 200 exponential moving average is here, I'm even going to dip it a little bit below just to be, hey, I'm really, really, really cool selling anywhere in here and probably pretty aggressively here. Now, something else is I want to find additional areas of resistance to help me try to figure out where I should really be selling more aggressively in that box. And what we can see here is I see a wick here, a wick here. I see a lot of confluence here. I see a lot of confluence here, another wick here, another, general a confluence point here. So this looks like a pretty good spot of additional resistance to me. So as Aptos hopefully makes its way upwards, it's going to run into potential resistance here. It's going to run into potential resistance here. And if it dips up a little bit higher, we're at a heightened risk of this thing rolling over. Okay, so that's wonderful. Can I find any more areas of resistance? I'm going to put on this Fibonacci retracement tool, which what you do is this is the bottom move that we have here, and this is the top of this gigantic macro trend that we had. So let's lay this on top of that perfectly, and we end up finding additional areas of resistance and support. as we can see, there's an additional area of resistance and support here at $8.57 in our general block. So again, if we see price moving upwards, I'm going to be happy to sell ahead of the 200-day exponential moving average. If it goes up, I'm selling more. If it gets up here, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. You know, so here's additional areas of resistance and support that are telling us that. And again, this is kind of the sweet spot of how high this move upwards could go. And that's why I'm looking to set up this trade. Because if Bitcoin's going to go to $100,000 potentially, Aptos should be able to execute the bullish breakout of this consolidation. And this move upwards from here is about potentially 40%. But I'm going to be selling before that. I'm going to sell some, you know, at $7.70. I'm going to sell some at $7.90, $8 basically. I'm going to reevaluate, see how things are going. If it overshoots, I'm probably going to sell the rest of it immediately. And that is how I am setting up this Aptos trade, right? And so the last thing I will teach is, if we zoom in on the 4-hour time frame, we can see a classic breakout. Strength, 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 higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. And then we get above this point, but we don't have a confirmed bullish breakout above it, right? We come up, we fell back below, but we came back to a key exponential moving average, the 200, this orange line. That is a very good, strong areas of support. It found it, ended up finding support, and is using it as a trampoline to break above. And now what we're hoping to see, and this is where I bought. I saw this trampoline, and I was like, all right, okay, cool. I'm really happy to buy here. And I bought a little bit more here as well this morning. We may come down, back down to this magenta line, hold that as support, and most likely break upwards. And I said that was the last thing, but now this is the last thing. This is the last thing. If we come to the weekly chart for Aptos, you can see the MACD has a lot of bullish momentum here. And you can also see that the stochastic RSI is super beat up with a lot of room to the upside. So I feel very, 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 very confident in Aptos's ability to have a great move. And there are other coins out there that are in very similar setups, but their breaking of their consolidation pattern that they're in is maybe 20% or 18%, like Cardano's and Solana's. But I found Aptos, and Aptos's breakout target is 39 to 40%. So there's a more money-making opportunity there, while still being in a coin that, for me, I need the liquidity. I need it, because for me, I play with position sizes that are larger than most. I need the liquidity of a big coin if I'm going to take a big position. And so I can kind of get in and out of that market pretty easily and stand to potentially profit quite a bit. And that is what I'm thinking. There are a couple other things I could mention as well, but I think that's plenty.
We have
of
some follow-up
information
questions that I'd like to ask you from the audience. That was fantastic. Thank you. What would the best stop loss on this Aptos play be?
Well, what you could do here is you can see that I actually have an alert set up on my chart. I have an alert set up. It's this dotted line you see here. In fact, if I hover over it,
you'll
see that I have APT crossing $5.75, because this is where this exponential moving average area of support is currently sitting across the 12 and the 21-day exponential moving average. So I want that alert to happen so that it's pinging me on my phone, my computer's pinging loudly in my house, and I can come back and monitor the chart and see if this is going to hold a support. Because if this ends up being a false breakout, we come down, this would actually want to hold a support to be another trampoline upwards to kind of break us out of here. That could totally happen. If so, I want to be watching and making sure it happens. But where you might want to set a stop loss would be somewhere below this, right? If it wicks down, you don't want it to wick down and come up and get rid of your entire trade. But, wherever you would set a stop loss is what risk you're comfortable with. Like, if we were to wick down, $5.60 has a lot of support to potentially bounce up. There's a wick here, the bottom of body here, the body here, wick here. There's a wick here, the bottom of body here, the bottom of a body here, or the top of a body, right? So maybe a stop loss like just below that point, because then if you get past that, you'd be looking at like this potential setup, right? That's something that could happen. So I hope that made some sort of sense.
Yeah, it made great sense. And we have two more follow-up questions. And one of them is I'm going to take it. And Alex, I want your commentary on this too, is Will seems like a pretty smart guy, and I will concur. He absolutely is.
Sometimes.
Why don't you guys follow his trades? And I think this is a really good question, because sometimes if I have a friend who knows what they're doing, who can explain it to me so that I can build enough conviction, I might do something someone else is doing. But as a rule, I don't like to follow other people's trades. And it's because I don't like to do anything that I didn't decide to do for myself that I may not understand the mechanics of, and because it's not one size fits all. Will, how I know your Cardano position was 6 figures, and you were looking for a 1.5% move.
It was $250,000. Yeah.
So I am not in a position where I'm going to put $250,000 in an altcoin looking for 1 or 2%. I also am not in a position, though I understand this trade now, and I think it's a smart move. I don't like to trade super actively. And I frankly feel like I could already execute this same kind of trade on something like Solana that will also probably continue to move up with Bitcoin, which I'm paying close attention to already, which I understand the fundamentals in the chart for, and will move not unlike Aptos if I want to execute a swing trade without having to buy the asset, look at the chart, familiarize myself with it. And ultimately, mostly, I just don't want to be on the hook because I didn't investigate this trade myself for Will to have to tell me, hey, Evan, don't forget to sell, because he's going to sell and he's looking out for me. He would tell me, you know, if he remembered,
but I'm
if his girlfriend didn't call. That's right. He's selling first. And it's not because he doesn't, like me or anything. It's just, a delayed signal. It's not my signal. Alex, do you have anything else to add or a different answer that you would give for that question?
No, that's pretty much it. My biggest would be, one, I am not moving with enough money to make it worth it for me to take a risk like that when I'm clueless, and I would literally just be parroting whatever Will says. And if I miss something, then it's just not like a thing that I have interest in doing, to be very honest. It's not a risk I'm interested in taking. I do my own every now and then, but never like sit and look at the chart and find all of these different various things that Will is identifying and yada yada. It's just more like recognizing when a position that I has done well and acting accordingly. But no, that's literally it. It's not an indictment of Will's intelligence. It's just an indictment of my own desire to participate in the market like that. And then plus, like I said, I'm really not moving with enough money to make that worthwhile for me to take a risk like that.
And also, your strategy has been doing great for you. So, why change it? Why change it?
This is true. Yeah, I that's another one of the reasons is I feel like I'm in a very good place right now as far as how I'm handling everything, and I really don't want to futz with it in a direction that could put me in a worse spot, because the way that I first made all my mistakes was just copy trading people that were seeing things I wasn't able to see for myself, and I got myself into trouble that way.
There are a lot of really good questions here too about if I want to learn to trade like Will, what tools does Will use? How do I get on board with this? How can I learn that? Then listen, my friend, I got the answer for you. I've got 2 resources. Okay. The first resource is over at the riseupmorningshow.com. At that same tab I showed you before where we had Alex's PDF guide, you can get a copy of Will's technical analysis course. He's got a whole course he taught, and frankly, it was fantastic. If you took the course, please leave a comment. Just write, say, yep, okay, it was great, whatever. If you have your thumbs at the ready, if you're driving like Alex, I cannot believe you are typing and driving. I can, but be safe.
But yeah,
get the course. It's fantastic.
But yeah, it's just over 2 hours of me teaching you really, if you're new to trading, I think this is super, super valuable to you. If you're advanced, maybe not. But if you're new, you'll learn in those over 2 hours, how do you set up your trading view chart? How do you customize it? All that kind of stuff. What are all the indicators mean? What indicators do I like to use and why? What indicators do I like to use in conjunction with one another to give buy and sell targets? How do you read candle patterns? Go over a whole slew of bearish, bullish, and consolidation candle patterns for you to kind of keep your eyes open for. Different types of consolidation patterns, from ascending wedges to bull and bear flags and all the like. And then we go over how like I said, use them in combination to find some really good swing trade setups, not day trade setups. You know, I almost never day trade. My position that I took in Cardano is an extreme rarity for me. I just felt super confident in that move, and felt like making a little bit of money. But that's what I would say.
I also want to point people to this. If you don't want to take the whole course, maybe you don't have $50 to spend on a recording, or you're not a premium member, so you don't get the discount, and you want to just kind of try before you buy, check this out. Will, you wrote this guide with your
the top TA tools and
indicators.
indicators guide. Yes.
Looks like this.
Yeah, and that's just like a quick, I think it's like a 4-pager, maybe a 5-pager. That will give you just a real quick overview of just
and it's exactly the setup.
Signals.
Yeah,
it's exactly the setup.
Also very helpful, and it's available for you at the riseupmorningshow.com. And I will say, that was another question we had is, if I do 4 trades a day, am I considered a day trader? But Will, check me on this. My understanding of what people technically say a day trader is not how many trades you do so much as it's the style of like sitting down, looking at the market and deciding, I will trade this asset today within this day, and then I will probably leave my position. Is that correct, or is it a different definition?
Yeah, you just make one trade in the day. You enter, you exit, you head out. Just make one trade. You just need the more trades you make, the more likely you are to lose things, particularly if you're not doing a good job defending your positions. What I mean by that is set a stop loss, or if things look a little unshaky, go into stable coins. And even if you end up being wrong, it goes up or down to your long or short, whatever, wait for a setup that you're good and comfortable in, defend your position. If you don't do a good job at that and you make a bunch of trades, you're going to have hopefully a bunch of wins, but also probably a bunch of losses. No one has 100%. If you have a 90%, you're God tier, I mean, the thing is most people lose more trades than they win. The key thing is, when you lose small. When you win big. And so long as the dollar amount you have is going up, who the hell cares how many wins or losses you have? I
say it's less important to trade often and more important to trade with strong conviction. Will, when you said I have high confidence, I was like, oh, and then you did the research that easily convinced me. I was like, I don't have the confidence in this. Will clearly has done his homework, and who cares if you trade 1 time a day, 2 times a day, 1 time a month, 1 time a year? The thing that matters is, we have a friend of the show, he might be watching now, who the other day saw that Donald Trump had tweeted about Trump coin and looked at the chart, and it went like this. It had a big old candle going upwards, and he said, the market is down. We're in a bearish spot. This is temporary. And he went and took out a small short position against it and made really great money, because he said, there is no way this thing is here to stay. It's temporary. It's the perfect storm, the perfect setup, high conviction. And it went exactly as he thought it did. So that's the way to move. Find your strategy, find your plan, and execute it.
Exactly.
So we do have a little bit of manufacturing data coming out, and I would love for you to give us a macro update. While you get that prepared, I do want to let you know that tonight we are live again. We're live 4 times a week to answer your questions in the morning, to help with helpful news and commentary. But every Wednesday we go live at 7 p.m. Central. Also, 12 hours later, I saw our friend Amy Street in the comments. She's been on the Rise Up After Dark show. We love her. Amy, I hope you're doing well. And we have another returning guest tonight. Lindsay Poss, fellow tall, is going to join us to do a little altcoin research. If you've got an altcoin like Jasmy, I saw was suggested earlier in the live, that you'd like an update on, you want to take on it from people who work here, people like Will who do the technical analysis, then that's the best place for it, because we really roll up our sleeves, dive in, and show you how to do your own research. We demonstrate the tools that we love to use, and we take your altcoin picks right from the Rise Up Discord. I cannot believe I haven't put the fun box up yet. The Rise Up Discord server, I've mentioned it, it's totally free to join, and that's the best place to submit your altcoin picks for our consideration. We'd love to see you there. It's where the show lives 24/7, and we'd love to see you on After Dark tonight. Go ahead, Will.
So, I have information on durable goods orders. And
Give it to me.
what this is the amount of orders coming for goods for U.S. manufacturing. So if this number is high or low, it tells you how strong the U.S. manufacturing sector is right now. And it came in very strong with a month-over-month increase of 0.7%. The previous month's was 0.1%. That's a big increase for manufacturing. And the forecast was for 0.2%. So we beat the previous month by 0.6%. We beat the forecast by 0.5%. Now, that is really good news for the U.S. economy. However, that's really bad news for getting rate cuts anytime soon. Because if the Fed sees the U.S. economy is strong, they go, oh, we can keep these rates higher for longer. We're not causing a recession. Wonderful. Let's keep the pressure on inflation and make sure we get inflation down. So you see strong data like this come out, and the Fed goes, cool, I can just sit back on these higher rates for even longer. Trump does not want that. So we'll see what happens, because these things are going to be button heads.
Do you think these tariffs on the 2nd will have any effects? Moist Mike wants to know. I would say yes, and then I would say we'll explain it.
Maybe not.
Okay.
Because the thing is the market is forward-looking, right? And the market knows that these tariffs are happening, right? Now, what could mess things up is if Trump does what he did. And also, to be fair, it wasn't just Trump. It was also Lutnick, which is his commerce secretary, whatever the hell he is. Anyway, the Trump administration, let's just say that. This past round of tariffs, there were so many times of, well, maybe we won't, but we are. But hey, maybe now we could actually do less, but we are. But hey, now we're not. We did it, but now we're pushing some stuff back. So there was a lot of back and forth as negotiations were happening, right? So that's something to keep aware of, because the markets are forward-looking, so you'd think that they would have already priced in the tariffs from April 2nd. But if there's some communication back and forth and some yo-yo ping-ponging, that could make markets uncertain. The other thing, too, is we don't really know what the retaliatory tariffs are going to be. That's a little bit of an unknown. But April 2nd, just put an asterisk on it. Yes, tariffs are not good, but they've been known for a while. And we know that Trump is serious about tariffs after he has implemented them before. So the markets are like, cool, that's going to happen. But the execution of it could potentially add uncertainty to markets.
Excellent. Thank you for making the complex clear. In the comments, we have Robert Steckler teasing us with a secret. So, Robert, I'm watching you. Rebecca has said, if, as I've been taught, the true measure of success is the creation of community, you guys are the GOATs. Thank you. That's huge. Business of any sort hates back and forth indecisiveness. Yes.
I sure do.
Absolutely. Real quick.
And then the other thing, too, is in April, we'll be getting Q1 earnings reports from companies. And we're not expecting them to be very good. We're not expecting them to be horrible either. But if we miss some expectations, that could also add some uncertainty on top of however these tariffs get executed in the beginning of April. So we'll see.
Can you tell us, Will, where you like to go? I ask you this all the time for your economic news, or for, people who make macro complexities clear, like you, for people who want to learn this too.
Yeah. Best person over on Twitter is Jesse Cohen. His handle is also investing.com on Twitter is great. That's where I pulled up the durable goods orders. Also, investing.com is also just a great website to make financial economic stuff very simple and clear. But his handle is, and I'll share my screen as well.
You got it? Okay. I was going to race you to it. Here.
Sharing my screen. Yeah, Jesse Cohen. His at is Jesse Cohen INV. That's JESSE COHEN INVE or INV. Sorry, like investment. He's a global markets analyst at investing.com. So investing.com is a great just general source for this kind of stuff.
You can find investing.com right in his bio. 2 for 1, baby.
You can. It's a twofa.
Oh, and there's our guy, Alex. Everybody at LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube and Twitter can't see you still, but I have to tell you, the next thing I was going to say is, Alex, we haven't heard you in a minute. I haven't seen you in the chat. Can you give us a wellness check?
And he's
Well,
gone.
See, I can really only answer anything in the chat when I'm stuck in traffic, because that would be irresponsible.
It would be.
Would be.
But no, we're good. It is gorgeous out here today. So I'm gonna try to find an empty house with a rooftop patio and do my work from there today. But I think that's gonna be tough to do.
Man,
Man.
that sounds like a
I like
great
how you
idea.
say an
Sounds like
empty
a- I
house,
like how you
and
say
now
empty-
I hope people just think you're a squatter.
Yeah, with no context, that's a weird sentence.
Yeah, with no context.
Yeah. So okay, listening. You've been thoughtfully listening. Do you have a comment or remark, a good joke, word of wisdom, or is there a question? I know you do watch the chat, and so if I miss something, let me know.
No, I was trying to take some mental notes. Will, that was a great explanation of all of your trade stuff. I'm beginning to think perhaps you're not just drawing random squiggly lines and hoping for the best. Maybe you actually know something about some of this stuff.
No, they're random squiggles. Don't let my confidence fool you.
I will absolutely die on this.
Don't you dare let my confidence fool you.
Manny asked a good question that we haven't answered in a minute. Where are you guys based? We're a couple of guys. We're different guys in the same guy in different fonts.
What are
in
you?
different
What?
cities.
Where is the sentence going? We're different. Oh yeah, you know, we live in a place where there's sun in any way.
Hey man,
Listen,
Why did you stutter through that sentence?
don't come for me.
I think people like to have an adventure with me. Every time I open my mouth, I don't think anybody really knows where it's going to go, including me sometimes.
Every time you open your mouth, people like to have an adventure with you, and they don't know where it's going to go.
Oh my
Is that it? Is that it? Is that what we just said on our?
I'm based in
fake
Memphis,
internet
Tennessee,
stuff?
and
There we go.
Anyway.
It's been fun.
I am based in Memphis, and my mouth belongs to one woman.
And there she is.
Yeah. I'm in
okay,
Boston.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, you
Will's
said
in
that
the
was-
Boston Dow to prove it,
I'm in Boston. Yeah.
and Alex is squatting
I
somewhere
am-
different every day.
Yeah. Alex is
I'm-
squatting somewhere different.
In beautiful Tybee Island, Georgia, right now. Although I live in Savannah or outside of Savannah.
He's a literal vagabond.
A vagabond.
I should be so lucky.
He
Yeah,
is a ne'er-do-weller.
A man of the road. Yeah, a traveler.
So,
You know.
Evan, the only other thing that I was thinking was that we kicked off Web3 101 Wednesday, and then we went straight into a technical conversation about trading. And
Boy,
we
did
rugged
we.
everybody. So perhaps we back it up a tiny bit and cover a little bit of that at the near the end. Although I thought the trading one was good. To be honest, Will, I was even thinking too, a good Web3 101 Wednesday, or even just like a 101 Wednesday, would be trading stuff, because there's a lot of terms in there.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
All of the
I gotta
various
add
like
to that series.
candlesticks basics and all that good stuff is all also good information. So
Yeah, no, definitely.
am I Calvin's neighbor?
We can add. Yeah, I guess you apparently live near Calvin. I guess he in Georgia.
Is he in Atlanta? I think a lot. There's Atlanta's a pretty. I don't know exactly where in Georgia he lives, but I think I've heard that before.
We had a question from A201234. No one ever talks about them. Is it because of the big corporate board members? It's been doing well, and I have no idea what you're
What?
talking about, and I
What
can't
was
find
that?
it. So remind me.
What was that?
Please do remind me. Yeah, I don't know. I absolutely
Oh.
don't know, but I'd like to answer it. And if you do have a one-on-one question, we'd love to answer it. I did agree with you, Alex. I think it was nice to have Will explain that trade, and I felt like it was pretty accessible, but I'm not a technical analyst, so it's always
Me
tough.
neither.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, do we have anything else that's on our to-do list of things to talk about here? Always happy to field more questions.
Well,
I was gonna say
Will,
there's a-
if you were listening, I was just saying. I'm just picking on you, man. No, it's Web3 101 Wednesday, and we're questioned out, so we're waiting
Okay.
for folks to fill us up. I do have a journey I can talk about that I had in the back
Evan
pocket
just getting so much more sexual.
from. I don't intend to
Just
do it. I
waiting
don't
for
do it on
people to
purpose.
fill me up.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
I'm
I did have
so
a back
sorry.
pocket conversation about Nillion prepared, but we don't have to go into it. I can share it on After Dark tonight. Did you get an answer, Alex, about what A201234 was asking about?
I believe it's Avalanche.
Oh, we don't. I mean, I don't know. There's 1,000 million projects in this space, and if I don't talk about Avalanche, it's not because I'm not excited about them. It's because
No, yeah, it's just because it's just one of those things. It's hard to keep having those conversations. Plus, at the end of the day, yeah, I love Avalanche, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And I feel like when people ask that, they just want someone to say, yes, it's good, and then you buy too much of it, and then you suffer.
Yeah. What's actually happening at Avalanche, Alex?
Well, I've always had a good experience using Avalanche. I've always enjoyed it. The Trader Joe decentralized
100%.
exchange has been great. It's just weird to
100%.
me that like their DeFi or their DeFi. Well, I guess their DeFi environment, their TVL, so the amount of money on chain. Yeah, it's been growing in 2025, but it hasn't really been like flying at all in the bull run that we've had since 2023. Really, it's at 1.2 billion, which is a good sized DeFi environment, but it's just kind of odd that like it really hasn't been able to take up much market share because it seems like a competitive product to the likes of Solana.
I think they're really focused on the layer zero thesis, getting companies and individual, entities that want to build on their subnets. That's like the architecture of their chain is set up to be like a base chain for other people to build blockchains on. And I think it's just taken a lot of time for that thesis to play out. And they're very focused on gaming specifically.
Yeah, but does that layer zero environment, is it the Cosmos dilemma where people use Cosmos to build a blockchain and then it's just totally off and away from Cosmos and doesn't help to drive up the price at all of the token?
I don't know that we have enough information about it.
Okay.
Alex says no, though.
No, it's not the same thing. So the theory and the idea is similar. The difference is that with Cosmos, what you have is this, and if there's an engineer, please feel free to help me out here because I might butcher a little piece of this, but this is the general idea. With Cosmos and with Polkadot and stuff like that, right, that have these layer zero products. Like with Polkadot, there's the Substrate toolkit, and with Cosmos, you have the Cosmos SDK, the aptly named. Those are designed to help you build things that can be elsewhere. Whereas with Avalanche, the idea is that you are creating subnets which run on Avalanche. So you're building on AVAX, but you get more freedom to create your ecosystem to be a little bit more specific with some more specific parameters that you can set. So it's a much more contained methodology for creating more intricate ecosystems than you can launch elsewhere. And that's kind of the value play. And I would say that the thing that Avalanche has in addition to all of that puts them in a league of their own compared to stuff like Polkadot and Cosmos, is this commitment and dedication to one of the niches while still supporting other things. So, they're focusing heavily on gaming and they're doing a lot to attract those different things, and it's working. In that sense, they are actually making at least somewhat of an attempt to establish some kind of culture and give people a reason to want to be there. I mean, if when Solana meme season, for example, ran out of steam or people started to get a bad taste in their mouth about it and the casino over there needed a bit of a wash, Avalanche was the next place that it went. Culturally, and it ended up then being a much different experience, and people were over there talking about just in general how it was kind of a different vibe, which is indicative of the fact that people in the Avalanche community have sort of established their own culture, which is very important. So in that sense, I think that I think they definitely have some stuff that makes them a little bit more unique. I love it. I've held it for ages. And I will continue to do so. I can't say whether or not it's like, the greatest investment. Unfortunately, all these things can be true, and it can still not be, a token that is just destined to explode in price. There's all sorts of other factors there. But generally speaking, that's kind of my current take on the whole ecosystem.
Well said.
Got it.
We have a number of other questions that I have taken down here, and I first want to start with Letty. Good to see you. Does understanding trading help you understand trading crypto, like trading stocks, commodities, using eToro? Would that set you up well to trade crypto? And I would say, Will, that's a you question.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I have noticed no difference. It's just crypto's way more volatile and it moves way faster and you get liquidated way sooner. So I mean, that's it. Just crypto's way more risky. If you are a trader, there's way more opportunity because no risk, no reward, more risk, more reward. Volatility is a good thing, but if you're new, it can be a disaster.
Yeah.
If you don't have a strategy that you feel confident in, you just get more easily wrecked, or you more easily stumble into finding success. It's a double-edged sword.
And you don't have to be a trader. Like you can be somebody who buys and holds. You could be a venture style investor who's maybe looking at companies that are pre-product. And it's the difference is when you're trading a company's stock, that's like a way to speculate on the company. It has no real use beyond that. But a lot of the time when you're buying a cryptocurrency, you might be buying something that looks more like a commodity or something that looks more like a day pass. I don't know. A token is an instrument of possibility that is much more flexible than a stock. So treating every token like it's a share of ownership in a company may not be the best strategy. It's not reflective of the reality of the thing, I'd say.
Yeah. Also, somebody asked me, this is a good question, why did I choose Aptos instead of Fetch? First of all, I was confused by that question because those coins have zero similarity to one another. But because Aptos is a platform in crypto, it's a layer 1, and ASI/Fetch is an AI crypto. But the reason why is because Fetch didn't meet my trading scenario, which is, I'll share my screen. Just super quick. This is Fetch on the daily time frame.
Hold tight. I mean, don't stop explaining, but
this is Fetch on the daily time frame. And while yes, we have the same kind of, hey, we have a big bearish move here with a lot of confidence, and then kind of a rounding over that we're starting to see, But when I look at this, I don't see any form of bottom here for me to build some kind of triangle. I like to trade out of the breakouts of consolidation triangles. It's one of the things that make me feel confident. So even though if I even pull up the weekly chart here, you can see the weekly chart for Fetch is super oversold and has a lot of room to go to the upside before it potentially runs into resistance, like 35% or 30%, depending on where this exponential moving average comes down. But because I didn't get that triangle setup that I like, and to come up to the Aptos chart to again show you what that looks like, I was like, cool, it's not my setup. Here, I have a clear bottom. That's a higher low. I have a clear bottom line of support. I have a clear top line of support. We're at the breakout zone. Even if we dip a little bit below, exponential moving averages are here to catch us and potentially break us out again. That's just a situation that I feel more confident in, so I didn't touch Fetch. And again, like we said earlier, it's about finding trading setups. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, Evan. It's about finding trading setups that you have a high degree of confidence in. And, as time goes by, you figure out what makes you confident, what makes you not. Then
Music Man said, I only trade breakouts.
Yeah.
I surely do. We had another good question that I think maybe we can start to wrap up on. If you've got a question, let us know. And if we miss your question, do be sure to jump into the Discord server, discord.gg/riseup. That's the place the show lives 24/7. Free place to ask your questions, get a second opinion on something, or meet your new best friend, another learner just like you, as you hang out with us. We got the best community of people, and all that's missing is you. Can you guys explain ETFs? There's an ETH ETF, there's an XRP ETF, there's altcoin ETFs coming out. What's
there's
the
an
ETF
XRP ETF?
I mean, people are filing for that kind of stuff. There's
Oh
no
yeah,
XRP
okay.
ETF.
I was like, what?
Thank you for calling me on it. And can I transfer that stuff to crypto? Somebody asked can I trade crypto from Fidelity to Coinbase? And the answer is no.
No.
But what's an ETF and how does it differ from crypto?
An ETF traditionally is a bucket of assets in the traditional world that you want exposure to by buying a share of it that says, hey, I own one of those. For gold and for Bitcoin and for the Ethereum spot ETFs, there's just one single asset in that bucket. There's gold, there's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum. And you can have two types of ETFs, a futures ETF and a spot ETF. A futures ETF just gives you a piece of paper that says you are exposed to the price action of Ethereum or Bitcoin or gold. A spot ETF, the company actually goes out and acquires the underlying asset and affects the demand and supply of the actual market. Okay. Now, ETFs are very good tools if you are used to being in the traditional financial world. You like your broker, Fidelity. You like BlackRock. Whoever it is, you're comfortable. You now have an option to get exposure to the crypto space. Hey, so you go and buy one of the spot ETF products. It's also very easy and very secure to be able to kind of pass that on to your children or grandchildren or what have you, if you're a long-term investor. If you want to take that money and then go and buy a whole bunch of altcoins, you have to take your money, you have to sell your share, that settles. And then once it's settled, you can take that money and then put that into your bank account. And once that's there, this whole process can take like a whole week, from start to finish, or at least 4 or 5 days or so. Then once your money's there in your bank account, you can then pipe it on over to Coinbase or an exchange of your preference. You can buy the coin that you want, and you can call that a day, or you can take that coin into Web3 by bringing it over to a hot wallet and exploring DeFi and all the other beautiful things that are on Web3. And that's that process. Was there a question I didn't answer?
No, that was it. Alex, do you have anything to add to expand? Good answer.
No, sorry, I'm answering different questions.
Chatting in the comments. I want to elaborate on what I said about Fidelity, because somebody asked, can I transfer a crypto from Fidelity to Coinbase? And the thing about crypto versus an ETF is when you have a crypto wallet that is what's called a self-custody wallet, meaning you own the key to that wallet. Nobody else has a copy of it. It's not an account like a username and password where you log in and somebody else custodies it for you. Then you own that crypto asset directly. It is assigned to your private key. That is the mechanism of ownership. It doesn't physically exist. It's not like sent to a little mailbox or on a piece of paper. It's written on the distributed ledger called a blockchain, kept on many computers around the world. And you have a private key that is assigned as the owner of that crypto asset. When Fidelity owns your crypto, what you have is you own an account, which is really like renting an account. It may be free. You have some privileges, but they can deplatform you. They can ban you. They can temporarily put a holder restriction on you. And you cannot transfer your crypto off their platform. It's like a traditional brokerage. That's very different than the ownership experience that crypto gives us for information that represents our money. But the technology that makes cryptocurrency possible will make it possible to truly own not just monetary information, but any information that can be given that same form, that can be written down on a distributed ledger and assigned to you, and maybe even tied to a physical asset like the deed to your house. And wouldn't it be great if you didn't have to rely on people like banks and brokers to keep those things for you, to trust them to do what they say they are going to do? So one of the big differences in using a platform like Fidelity or a platform like Coinbase and having your own wallet is that freedom and that responsibility. Everybody should learn that. And if you are curious about that, or if you're not yet a level 1 crypto user who knows how to buy, sell, send, swap, store your crypto securely, how to turn it back into cash, then I recommend you check out the Learn to Use Crypto playlist at my profile. I recommend you follow everyone here and engage with their content, because this is important stuff to know before you think about, getting mega rich with crypto. Will, did you have something to add?
Yeah, somebody asked, well, what's the advantage of getting an Ethereum Bitcoin ETF as opposed to just going to a market and buying spot Bitcoin? And so I'll give you 2 scenarios, one of which is you can actually have tax incentives to get the Bitcoin ETF. You can reduce or pay 0 taxes on it if you include it into your Roth IRA, is what I believe. But there are tax incentives with it. You can also create a scenario, like I said, is more secure to be able to pass on to your children or grandchildren or hold long term, because Coinbase, if you buy from BlackRock, Coinbase is the custodial. They're holding your Bitcoin and you have a share. And if you pass, and you want to just give that to your children, that's easily done. But let's just say that scenario happens and you give your spot Bitcoin, your hardware wallet, to your children, and then they are not Web3 natives. They don't know how to use it. They send it to the wrong address. They forget the seed phrase, and you lose it, right? Or you make that mistake yourself and you lose it. Because if you make a mistake in a crypto transaction, you can lose it forever. You know, so if you want to reduce the risk of that happening, go to the ETF. You want to find ways to have tax incentives, go to the ETF. If you want to have control over your money and be able to bring it with you and, you know, kind of escape the system and kind of send payments to wherever, to whoever, you know, then buy spot Bitcoin.
Beautiful. Now, gentlemen, it's about that time where we ride our dogs and ponies off into the sunset. But first, I want to invite everybody in the audience to give their last thought, question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom. And don't forget to join us tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for Rise Up After Dark in all these places. And let me remind you that these, wherever you're watching the show, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, sometime in the future, you are watching this on our official profile. These are our only profiles. We all have impersonators who will pretend to be us with the same profile picture. They'll respond to your comments. They'll get in your DMs. They'll invite you to WhatsApp because they want to leverage the trust that we have built to try and take your money. We will never directly message you. We will never ask you to join our trading group. We will never offer to invest money for you. The official platforms we have are these channels and the Rise Up website, riseupmorningshow.com, and the Discord server, discord.gg/riseup. We would love to see you in any of those places, but if you get a message from us, it's not us. We do that not because we don't want to talk to you. We do. We want you to be safe about it. Any creator who's legitimate will never message you first. Alex, since you're about to like imminently jump out of the car and probably go work on something, do you want to give your final thought first?
Just that I'm looking forward to tonight. I would say, you know, just to drive home one thing that we talked about today. There's a lot of speculation right now about whether or not the market is like fully recovering and transitioning back to some sort of up-only time. No one knows. But what people do know is that capitalizing on that speculation and that curiosity and that intrigue leads to lots of attention. And it's very easy to get a lot of views and engagement when you talk like that. Just please remember that nobody knows. It's not advised. I don't think anyone would advise to like start aping into long positions in a bunch of these things now that like candles have turned green and prices are starting to go back up. If you are trying to get into something long term and you can, you know, analyze and look at all of these different prices and whether or not you're okay with the prices going back down again after buying something, that's a totally different story. But please don't succumb to the pressure that people who have the weakest grasp on how any of this stuff works and are really just trying to farm engagement are pressuring people to do. So you're going to see more. It happens every time. Every time markets get green, there is rampant speculation that it's a bull run and it's all back and it's up only and, you know, don't miss out. And then a week later, the markets are all going to crash and those same people are going to start farming engagement, talking about how the bear market is here. And really the moral of the story is nobody has any clue what's going on. And objectivity goes out the window the second candles get scary or exciting. So just think about that. Just always like take a step back and look at things objectively. Don't buy stuff you don't understand just because you feel pressured to do so. It doesn't work out.
Don't FOMO, basically, Miltos says.
That's it.
Will, what about you? Have you got a final thought? Question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom?
No, but it looks like Bitcoin might have a bearish break of the 200 on the 4-hour time frame. Sorry. No, it looks like markets aren't liking that news.
Well, markets, you are going to eat it and you are going to like it.
You're going to eat it and you're going to like it. I still think Bitcoin goes to $100,000. But, you know, it looks like, you know, we've been pointing out that Bitcoin's been overextended on the daily time frame, but you know, it looks like we might have a little bit more juice for one more leg up, but maybe not. We'll see if support levels hold.
What an interesting sentence.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm just like, I need to make like a video to update people on, and I got to do another.
Then my final thought will be to say that if you are
Anyway.
somebody who wants to know, hey, I want to start investing, where do I begin? I will just simply say, you got options. It depends on where you live, which app is best for you. And learning about crypto can feel like drinking from a fire hose or just getting pushed in the river. So the most important critical thing you can do is get in a group, hang out with some people that you vibe with, that know how to use this stuff, who are a little more experienced than you. And then you see one, do one, teach one. You ask your question, then you practice your skills and share what you know to give back. And that's what we call rising up. We have the opportunity for you to do that by joining this show every Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, Rise Up After Dark at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. The Discord server, discord.gg/riseup. We've got a ton of resources on the website that can help you become a confident, safe crypto user. But the most important one is community. And my real final thought is don't forget, we're going to be in Toronto May 12th through 16th. Joe is flooding the inbox with great suggestions. He sent me this cool, like multi-purpose, like it's a bowling alley, it's a restaurant, it's got a club. Might be the move for the Rise Up meetup. If you're going to be there, we would love to see you. And we would love for you to check out Consensus or a crypto conference near you. It's a great way to practice what we do right here in real life. And get in the Discord. We'll coordinate there. So, my friends, thank you for being the best part of what we do. We will see you tonight in just a few hours. Until then, everybody stay safe, be well,